There was a touch of familiarity on day three of the test match between New Zealand and West Indies, and of course, ending with another bit of familiarity, a massive loss. New Zealand winning the contest by 9 wickets. A familiarity that we don't really like so much if you're a lover of West Indies cricket. Welcome, Jonathan Graham, Hartley Reid, and Stephen Daniels. And the new kid on the block, we're going to let him go first.
Oh
Um,
dear.
Jonathan, um, what can I say? I don't know what to say, so you help me.
I think New Zealand bowled well. The wicket was helpful, and our batsmen will always struggle on wickets that are helpful. That's what usually happens. I mean, the bowlers tried their best, they worked hard. The batsmen are not technically equipped to handle that bowling on these wickets. So, no real surprise there.
You're not surprised. Any surprises, Hartley Reid?
But yes, I must say I disappointed but not surprised because having having played so well in the last week, personally, I felt that the turnaround time was too short. It is like if you were on drugs, they they were on a high, and now they crash because it wasn't. They didn't have enough time to really adjust, and from the first day, the team just wasn't playing properly. As Jonathan said, you cannot fault our bowlers. You can't fault them.
Okay.
They are doing their best. Remember, we have two new kids on the block, so to speak, and an out of form Seal. Seals is out of form badly. So and an old man, 37-year-old road. And even with those negatives, the bowlers can still restrict New Zealand and had not for some simple drop catches yesterday, I mean, they would not have gotten those kind of runs. They could never have gotten that 70-run lead. But our batters just, but you can see that they are not really putting in the kind of work that is required at the international level as a batter. And because of that, their shot selection is woeful, as John said, they're woefully short. And they're being exposed because the New Zealand bowling was steady. Very few persons at any time got anywhere over 140 kilometers. So most of them were medium pacers. So we can't even say that we were being beaten for pace. It is just that our backers have become now complacent. That's all I can say. Because having seen what Roach and Graves and Hope did just the other day, I thought that we would have used that as an impetus to push us to say, well, let us also raise our hands and emulate and say that we are here too. But they're not doing anything. So, hey, we have to wait and see what is going to happen next week.
Mhm.
Stephen,
Yes, welcome to your listeners, your viewers. I must say that I'm very disappointed with the outcome. I mean, I can accept the fact that we lost. Um, I was hoping that we would have done a lot better, but again, the way that we just crumbled like a pack of cards, it really hurts, you know. I mean, last week we were talking about the corner, and let's say we were in Georgetown. Maybe last week the corner was in Castries, but now the corner is in Montego Bay. It seems to have gone further away, you know. I do not understand why the mistakes are being repeated. We know that, like for example, Campbell's problem with his off stump, but he seemed to get better, as I said last time we met. But if you look at Chase, for example, I mean, he has gotten out in the identical fashion 3 times in a row. So it makes you wonder. I'm not doubting that he's putting in work, but the question is he putting in the right kind of work and getting the right assistance? So, as Hartley said, the bowlers can't be faulted. This was purely at the hands of our batsmen who did not come to the party to support our bowlers. You know, even with the new bowlers that we have, they just simply did not come to the party.
What's the solution, gentlemen?
Between now and the next test, or you mean in the
Well,
future?
we can look at short-term solution and we can look at medium to long-term solutions. So I'm not gonna let you off the hook.
I mean, between now and the next test, all the batsmen can do is review how they got out. Like Chase is being pushed back, and then you put the ball on a good length, move it away from him, and he never fails the edge. So, for example, maybe he needs to realize that the ball is going to leave me. Maybe I need to move towards my off stump. But the coaches have to sit them down, show them how they got out, and give them some kind of coping mechanism that hopefully they can survive a little bit longer. But of course, if you can take the wicket from the last test on the last day and take it to the third test, we might survive. But
Right.
once the wicket has a little help, you know, it's a struggle. And also, I think we could be a little more aggressive sometimes. I see New Zealand's been pushing us back with the short balls. We're in a very defensive frame of mind, and it encourages New Zealand pacers to experiment, try more things because no one is really attacking them. So they're very confident in what they're doing.
But
What would
Jonathan,
that? But do we have the skill to attack these guys? Maybe we can't even
Mm.
survive. You know, your attack. I don't know if that's going to go down any better with the fans. All out for 75 or something like that, and then people will talk about how reckless you've been. I'm not so
Mm.
sure that the skill level will allow a whole lot of attacking, but it's a thought, and maybe you may very well be onto something there.
Yeah,
How do you think you
yeah.
were saying something?
yes, Jonathan was talking about attacking, but the thing is, it's simple. It is the basics in batting are wrong. They are cemented, literally cemented. Almost all of them, they're the back leg cemented on the leg stump, and they are trying to get outside the off stump, and they're breaking off the edges. So now what we saw tonight, at least one of them, Hodge was just marking time. He was moving his back foot, but not going anywhere, even over to the offside. He's just going to the middle stump. So when his front foot comes in, his front foot is still in between the 9 inches of the three stumps. So their batting technique is wrong,
Mm.
and there isn't anything you Philip asks about how we're going to change. Can't change between now and next week.
Mhm.
As John, in fact, Jonathan did said the right thing. You're going to just, as the coach and the analyst will just show them, well, listen, gentlemen, this is what you all have done wrong. And it is a mind thing. If they are prepared to talk to themselves when they are batting, because when you are informed, it clicks. You don't have to talk to yourself, you know. You just
Mm.
move like a robot. It's automatic movement. It is when you are not informed that you have to keep talking to yourself, move your feet, get in line, watch it. You talk to yourself until you start to flow again. I was watching those fellas and I said, but it's just a matter of time because they are not comfortable. They were not moving as if they were batters. They were just moving as if they were just out there. But for those who understand how you bat, you could have seen that if you do, and I'm a coach, I have never coached anything in my life, but if you do not get square to the ball, you are not going to get it played properly. And everybody goes to the edge. Everybody goes to the edge. And then to get ball, I hear the commentators, well, they're New Zealanders. What magnificent balls. Just a little outer, but a little outer is enough if your back leg doesn't protect your stump. If you do not protect your stump, you're going to be castled. And this is what's happening to them all the time.
Well, I think it's a complex problem. Because if you go down the line, um, there are technical deficits, different kinds of deficits with players. If you look at Campbell, there's a problem with his off stump. If we look at King, sometimes he's overly aggressive. Like he's still in that T20 mode at times, right? If you look at King, at Hope, for example, he had a brilliant centuries, had back-to-back centuries, but even after his success, you notice that the New Zealanders decided to pepper him with short balls. And he did not look comfortable against a short ball. So you're looking at, like, those are three examples, three different types of problems. Roston Chase, who is not moving his feet. I'm not an expert like Hartley. I'm not a coach. I've never coached anybody other than 6 or 7 years old. But if you look at the replays for the way that Chase got out in the last 3 innings, it makes you wonder what has been done. Has he looked at the video? Has he had technical support? Has he been working? I don't know. I'm not there. So I'm not going to say he's not working hard, but it seems difficult to understand why a professional batsman would get out in the identical fashion so often. So to answer your question, Philip, I think it's really figuring out how to get that technical help. Obviously, the batsmen have to put in their own work. And I think to a large extent, there's also a mindset problem, right? Where you go in quite often, a number of our players go in survival mode, as opposed to, I need to impose myself on this. Not saying being overly aggressive or anything like that, but, even the defensive shot can send a signal that I'm here to stay, not I'm here to survive. So I think it's a combination of mindset, and I think it's a combination of a lot of technical work from the right people to assist them.
There was a lot of discussion about the selection of the team, and there are those who felt that, I would say I was among them, that the batting should not have been. In other words, it's fine to bring Hodge in, because in bringing Hodge in, you have another batsman and one who has shown the inclination to fight, and you also have someone who can bowl you some overs. So I think it was an expectation that Hodge would have come in for one of the faster bowlers, since there were 5 of them in the last Test match. That didn't happen. You brought in Hodge for Athens, and therefore you didn't really address the batting issue. Do you think would have made a difference, gentlemen, had the extra batsman been played?
It would have to. In fact, we discussed this at the end of the first test, that we were one batter short. So if you're one batter short, you don't exchange one islander for another islander. We just exchange Hodge. Athens for Hodge, and that did not help. The batting is too short, especially when you recognize that John Campbell gets out identical, Chase gets out identical. But Brandon King is a limited over player. He cannot get his mind back to playing like how he used to play when he first came onto the scene. When he came on the scene, he was a good technical batter. But now he has grown muscles, and he wants to hit every ball out of the park.
This is Brandon King you're talking about?
Brandon King, yes. Brandon King. You remember Brandon King when he was here in Barbados playing for UE?
I remember Brandon King playing for Stars Cricket before, and he was as good as anyone else playing in the region. Yeah.
Excellent. And Hope's problem is one that he cannot change overnight. He has set up himself as an off driver. He has set up himself to come on the front foot and go through the cover as sweetly as possible. Any bowler worth his salt now is dropping it short, and because of that, he's planting on the front foot. So he is not flowing any longer. He doesn't flow. So it doesn't surprise that in fact, New Zealand helped us out by, in the first session or the first day, they bowled pitch up. It was only after we came out from lunch that they went into plan 2, short pitch bowling. You can rest assured from the next week, the very first innings, they're going to come short at Hope, because he is pressing. He is pressing forward and cannot get out of the way because he is not getting back in the cross to get out of the way. Look at Hodge. Hodge cannot bat anywhere near as good as Hope. But Hodge does not jump, and because Hodge is a mover, you must move your plant leg. You must move your back leg to be a good batter against fast bowling. But as I said, I would go to my grave saying they have practiced with the bowling machine, and you cannot bat and cross with the bowling machine. So they're trying now to perfect a position that they cannot get done, because when you are on your leg stump and you're trying to get to outside the off stump, you are pulling yourself out of shape, and all you're going to do is expose the edge of your bat. So I don't know how we're going to do it from there.
I think to your question, Philip, I think I'm on the other side of the fence, because I think I agree with Hartley that we have a less productive, I don't know if he's out of form, but definitely a less productive Seals right now. So let's say we removed one of the bowlers, right? This time around, Phillips picked up some wickets. Last time around, Shields picked up some wickets. I tend to come down on the side of let's get quality over quantity. We've got 4 fast bowlers. Let's say we had 3. Well, you would argue that we have 5, including Graves. But because the bowling unit itself hasn't proven itself over a period of time, I would probably err on the side of going with the 4 bowlers and hope that my batsmen step up. Because at the end of the day, you still have to take 20 wickets, right? You still have to take 20 wickets. So,
yeah, I might think the extra batsman.
You think the team has a better chance with let's say with 5 medium pacers than before?
I think so in this case. I think they can apply more pressure. They're not. If you had 4 quality pacers, that's enough. But when you have so quality, so experience, they need those extra. They might need an extra pacer to maintain pressure, because one of those pacers are going to bowl nonsense serve innings.
One?
So, if there was a batsman out there, or if there were a couple of batsmen who I could say would really make a difference,
exactly.
then to go with that batsman. But I mean, Seals bowl a few good balls, lots of nonsense sometimes. I saw Lane bowl a lot of nonsense in between. I saw Seals struggling. So it's.
I haven't heard you call Roach.
can't
I haven't heard you call the old man Roach, who the selector wanted to move on from.
Roach
Did he bowl some nonsense as well?
No, he did not.
Okay.
I mean, Roach was bang on target.
I didn't see him bowl any either. Yeah.
No, he was good. He was good. He was very good.
Yeah. So you can't rely on these 5. You can't rely on the 4 pacers to actually bowl 4 quality.
So you think that so generally you're saying that if you have 5 pacers and 3 are mediocre, that it's better to have 3 mediocre pacers than 2?
But you see, this is the point that I must differ from Jonathan. Jonathan actually believes that a lot of fast bowlers win cricket. Has never yet. There isn't a test match I can remember in my lifetime, but you have 5 fast bowlers and you win a match. Because what you do, you underbowl one of your bowlers, or even 2 of them. New Zealand just come in with 2 of their bowlers out. 2.
Yeah. But Hartley, you saw the consistency of those.
Yes, but you see, but you have Roach, you have Seal, and then and the other you have the other Graves. Graves will have to bowl, because that is in fact those conditions in New Zealand are ideal for Graves. In fact, on the first day when New Zealand were batting, I said it is time for Graves, but I didn't put it in the chat because I said I don't want to annoy people. I said, but this is time for Graves. And when Graves came in, you saw, because New Zealand, look, our brains kind of forget because we don't remember New Zealand, but very few West Indians, very, very few West Indians, including the great Sir Gary, made runs in New Zealand. New Zealand is difficult to play cricket under because the pitches, the type of pitches are not conducive for much short play. We hit the ball on the bounce and but the pitches are slower, so you have to wait. And our batters, in the best of times, aren't patient. We now playing T20 and ODIs, so they don't understand what patience is at all now. So when you go to New Zealand, the ball is not ready. So our problem, 3 genuine fast bowlers. 3. Okay, if you want to play 4, and Graves, because I don't know.
So who are our 3 genuine fast bowlers in New Zealand right now?
O'Shea, well, Shields. Shields is the quickest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Shields is the quickest, and he's more experienced too. He's more experienced than the other one. So you will play.
Which other one you're talking about? Of the
Phillips?
5 bowlers who played in the last in this game that just ended,
Right
Shields
now,
would be the least experienced because Philip has played. I think this is his 5th match. It's only Shields' 2nd, and of course Seals has been playing a while, and Roach is a veteran. The only person who is, in fact, Shields is the least experienced on the whole tour, because remember Johan Lane played a match in India. Shields only made his debut in the first test, so Shields is inexperienced. I don't know if inexperience is really the issue here. I think you either know how to bowl line and length to start with. That's the basics of bowling. And if you can't start there, you can be as fast as a racing car. If you are fast and the ball is going wide the leg stump and wide the ball stump and ballooning over the batsman's head, I'm not so sure how you can get anybody out.
but you are quite right. But no,
That's what I was suggesting to Jonathan, that I don't think the answer is to play as many mediocre bowlers as you can. I basically would have gone with the 4 bowlers, and you see, we are reluctant to call. We have these boxes that we like to put people in, and label them. So we don't want to call Justin Graves a bowler because he can bat. He's a cricketer. He's a cricketer. And we need to get past that. Justin Graves, based on if I say that I base it on my knowledge of Justin Graves over the years, that's one part of it. But I haven't seen a lot of Shields over the years. I haven't seen a lot of Johan Lane over the years. So if I just base my assessment on what I have seen in Pakistan, in New Zealand, Justin Graves has been just as effective, has been more effective than everyone, with the exception of Roach. So why are we reluctant? Why are we saying 4 fast bowlers and Justin Graves? Justin Graves, on his bowling performance, in my opinion, is has been second only to Roach in terms of performance in this series so far. Of course, one could argue differently, and the only person who could probably challenge him for that would be Seals. But Seals has been, by his own standards, disappointing. But Justin Graves has been a cut above Shields and Johan Lane in terms of looking like
Anderson Philip.
Anderson Philip as well. Sorry. Well, Anderson Philip, this is the first time Anderson Philip has had a haul. Anderson Philip came into this match with 4 matches and 4 wickets, and he's done very well in this particular match. But I don't understand why we keep being so reluctant to give Graves the credit for his bowling simply because he can bat. The difference between Graves and the other bowlers, other than Roach, is that Graves can bat. They don't have anything on him. Seals, when he's playing well and he's in form, of course, he is a far superior bowler, but he's below par right now. But Johan Lane, Anderson Philip, OJ Shields, these guys can't come anyway. These guys are not in Justin Graves' class.
I think
Philip, I think I would agree with you, or I could go down that path if we had 3 reliable fast bowlers, right? Who have proven themselves.
But Stephen, if you have 3 reliable fast bowlers, you play them. If you have 1 reliable fast fast bowler. Let's say two. Let's
Mhm.
give let's not write off Seals because he's had a couple of bad games.
Right. So we go with
Right.
Seals and
So
Roach.
we have two reliable fast bowlers in Roach and
Correct.
Seals.
Yes.
And the other two are not reliable. So you got add a third now. So you want instead of two unreliable fast bowlers, you want three?
So how are you classifying three unreliables? Because if you were saying Graves does his thing,
Okay, I
right?
thought
So
you were saying okay, so we
no,
have
no,
three
no.
reliable fast bowlers then.
Right.
Right, including Graves.
Right.
Right.
What I'm saying is because I don't, and this is just my choice. I'm not sure what I'm gonna get out of the other two.
You're not sure what you're going to get out of any of the 11 guys on that team.
Last time Shields was quite fairly effective, right?
He was.
This time he was not very effective.
Shields, okay, if you want
This
to say
time,
that.
last time,
Uh-huh.
Mr. Phillip didn't even play. We played Lane, who
Yes.
did absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
This time, the man with the 90 plus average got a number of wickets, right? And Shields again didn't do much.
I think he's hitting at you there, but never mind.
No, I'm just saying that I believe if we had, for example, as Jonathan said, a quality player, batsman who would likely, because there's no guarantee, it's cricket, who would likely make a significant difference. In other words, that person is going to put runs on the board, right? So you give the bowlers who are not great something to work with. But tell me who that quality batsman is. You play Athanaze and Hodge. Does that mean that you're gonna be more productive?
Well,
Likely to be
you use a particular word there. You said hope. and I don't mean shit. Yeah.
Listen,
No,
listen,
well, we just
gentlemen, let us slow down. Let us slow down. You play once you have five pacers, they are going to relax on you because you're not going to call on them. They're going to when they start to feel the fatigue, they're going to raise the hand to the captain. Okay. When you have three fast bowlers on a lively pitch, remember, you are playing. We have just played on two pitches that I would love to walk about with my back pocket. Because any near, as we would say in Bible, any near fast bowler would get life out of those pitches. So then what you do, you have Seals, you have Roach, you have Graves, and then you will then have one of the, if you want to say you want the alternate pace, it has the OJ Shields. If you want, if you want, you see, the problem is that I find difficulty in Anderson Phillip, because I have never yet been impressed with him. I don't know how you all now realize he has been around now for some time. He has been around for some time. I do not know how he has gotten this far to be playing Test cricket. He doesn't do anything. He came to Kensington and took some wickets at Kensington, and from then we call him a cricketer. He hasn't, so he's going to come to Kensington every day then because he hasn't done anything since. So what we need, you cannot play Test cricket with only five batters. You cannot get it done. We're gonna be in trouble because when they start to fail, you're going to be asking the bowlers to bat.
Okay, guys, before we get to the elephant in the room and the topic of the day, why is it that Chase bowled just a couple of overs in the match? Is it that I don't know. Is there something about the pitch that would stop a spin bowler from at least holding up an end and rotating the other bowlers? I don't quite get that.
But you had five bowlers. You had five fast bowlers. So why would Chase bowl? And this is the problem. You have to identify the red elephant then. Once you have fast bowlers on a responsive pitch, no spin is going to touch the ball. He's going to touch the ball. He's going to bowl. Now, like New Zealand, Philip had to come in and bowl them because their bowlers were down. You had to then force the young fast bowler to be responsible because he knows he had to bowl to get some wickets for New Zealand. You had look at the body. Gentlemen, I'm a body language person. I can see bowlers when they're ready to bowl, but when they're not. And Phillips, he never ready. and well, OJ Shields is fast, but you remember Patterson Thompson? Well,
Please don't
Patterson
call
Thompson
those names in the same breath.
no, they say about I'm talking about way how he
Yeah.
should pitch the
Yes,
ball
but
all
Patterson
up.
sorry, you said Patterson Thompson, and for a moment there, my mind went to Patrick Patterson.
Oh,
But
oh, oh,
yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's why I made that comment. But gentlemen, in terms
Elephant in the
of
room.
I'm gonna leave the elephant in the room for
Hmm.
last. Let's deal with the topic of the day. Um, where do you guys stand on the topic of the day? And it looks as though you guys don't even know what I'm talking about.
you are talking about the management of the West End, correct?
No, I think the less said about that, the better.
Oh,
I'm talking about the issue of the wicketkeeper batsman.
oh,
Hmm.
well, I was trying my best with Emla, and everybody kept talking about the runs he made, that the Sibum has made, vice vice his poor wicket-keeping. And
Mhm.
everybody, not everybody, but a number of persons are saying it's better to have a good batter who can just catch the ball than to have a good catch, a wicketkeeper who will not make runs. But Emla is out of form badly. What the Emla I am seeing is not the Kevin Emla that I have seen playing all over the Caribbean. And unlike the others, that pitching Guyana and New Zealand ain't much different than Border. And but he doesn't know any Border, but Providence. He should be making runs, but he once again, if you think that John Campbell and Chase Foot cemented over there, but he had looked so bad today. I don't know what's wrong with Emla. Emla, his entire batting is out of sync. So you're right. But you cannot change him now. He's gonna keep wicket next week. But I
Mhm.
don't know unless he make a double century in the next 6 months. I don't know how anybody going to stop him from being dropped and bring him back in the silver because the silver has its followers.
Guys,
Everybody saying that the
are you
silver.
gonna go with in black for the final test, or
Yes.
the consideration given to Shea Hope taking up the gloves again?
No.
That's not.
No.
That's not going to
Football
happen.
with
That's not going to happen.
Out of it. Out of it. So forget that
We're
one.
of one accord. Why is that,
That's
John?
not going to happen.
Okay, Stephen, you're so sure you've got the inside track. Why is that not gonna happen?
Because he's been scoring more runs when he's not holding the gloves
Oh,
in Test cricket.
okay.
So they're not going to deviate from that. Excuse me. They're not going to deviate from that.
What about Jonathan? Jonathan, how do you feel about that?
I mean, Mlock is to me a decent batsman and relatively speaking with the other members of the side and with Hope having some success, they may not want to tamper with it. And maybe Hope himself may not want to be key.
Mhm. In terms of the long-term solution, though, after this tour, you think they should stick with Imlak or look at other options? There's a silver. There's also a guy called Amir Django.
Yeah.
My opinion is I'm sticking with Imlak because he's a better all-around keeper. We know that there's a problem with his batting at this point in time, but I think with the right help, the right mental attitude, the right psychological input, sports psychologists and all this technical,
Where have we seen these resources applied successfully over the last 10 years?
there's always hope. Hart. There's always hope. There's always hope. Keep hope alive.
But
But but
then
but
you call
but
Django's name, but Django
So,
can keep it.
yeah,
yeah, that's what I said. I said, what about
yeah.
Django? I mean, I think Django has been a bit unfortunate. He came into the one day international side and had very early o'clock had a century. Some will say against Bangladesh, but it's all happened that's who he was brought in to play against. The Duffy and company just picked up some wickets against a poor West Indies side. And I
Mhm,
don't think
mhm.
anybody in New Zealand is going to be trying to be dismissive of the performances of Duffy and company because they got wickets against the team that they were chosen to play against. So I think we got to stop that rubbish and learn to respect the efforts of players. Django came in and he did well against Bangladesh. and that seems so long ago now. I don't even remember when it was. And he's only played what, 5 one-day internationals in total. He's got the 1 century. He's averaging 38, and they're very reluctant to play him. In fact, I see people like the young man who plays for the St. Lucia Kings, Ogis, are getting a game ahead of him and things like that. So he doesn't seem to be one of the favorite ones, but he is there, and hopefully he will keep performing and embarrass those who feel that he's not deserving. So that's possibly another option. But there's that elephant. Before we close, we got to address that elephant in the room. We've addressed the issue of the topic of the day, the wicket keeping batsman position. Some of you feel that Imlat should remain. I hardly can't wait to see the silver back in the side. And no, I'm surprised that Hartley let me get away with that. I guess you know sarcasm anyway. Yeah. So now the elephant in the room, the real elephant, guys. So what am I talking about? Or am I just imagining things? Am I having double vision or something? And it's just maybe a
What elephant
puppy
you're
that
talking
looks
about?
like an elephant?
Let us know. Let us know.
Well, Hardy, you've been in the chats and so on, and there's a man who is causing all of these problems for the West Indies, and you've just got to change him, and things will get better. That's the captain. More sarcasm now, and Stephen, don't look so puzzled.
Captain, listen, when I hear people talking about dropping Chase, they are forgetting that Chase is the off spinner, you know.
But
They are
you just told me that the off spinner, that the spinners are necessary because you've got 5 fast bowlers.
Oh, you mean in New Zealand, but so you're gonna stand New Zealand for the rest of your life? They gotta come back out. You know, the issue is that the people look in the Caribbean, the captain is always the person who must hold responsibility because he's the boss. He carries the team on the field. But Chase's captaincy is not the problem in here. New Zealand didn't get him. In fact, each time Chase made a bowling change, someone got out. It's our batting, and that has more to do with the selector.
Yeah, but I think what people are saying is that if he's a captain and he's not making any runs, how can he justify a play?
He doesn't behave. He wasn't selected as a captain. He was elected to captain because he was in the team.
Right.
Is he
So
supposed
this is
to
this
produce
is why
runs? Is he supposed to produce runs? Is he
Yes,
supposed to produce runs?
but you can't pick on him alone. If you're going to pick on him, the only person you could take out is Graves and Hope. All the others didn't make the runs. So don't talk about the production of runs. None of them make runs except Hope and Roach. Roach made him. The batters are not batting. Athanaze, John King,
not John King. I think
Campbell.
John King
Campbell?
sings.
John
Campbell or Brandon King.
I was going to say John Campbell, but that's a John King. You see, you did. So do not let us identify any batter at all for dropping. Or not even going to change the entire team. Because only have two batters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think really and truly though, in terms of Chase though, if I were in Chase's position, I would probably drop myself down the yard and take the pressure off myself. I don't think I would want to come in at number 5 in the sort of wretched form that I've been in. And I would probably focus more on my bowling and try to do something down below. But bat at number 5, I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself and you're not really, you've got some problems right now and it's not working out for you. And I think the thing about dropping, whenever I hear the call for a captain said, it is almost like going to a comedy show. In fact, I think I probably get more amusement out of that than out of a comedy show because we had that discussion with Braffett. They call for
Yeah.
Braffitt's head.
Yeah.
We had that with Holder. They called for Holder's head. Who was the captain before Holder? Anybody remembers? Sammy it was.
It was Sammy. So now, no. It had somebody before Sammy.
But look. You know what? Since Richards, we've called for every captain's head. There were those who felt, well, Lara, they'd be better off without Lara. Remember the calls for Lara to be dropped? Yeah. So what I'm saying is we've done all these things. All those captains have come and gone. And here we are. And yet people still think that they're making a profound statement with high level of wisdom by calling for the change in the captaincy. Well,
can I ask a question here?
Uh-huh.
So Chase has not been producing. If you look at his numbers, let me begin by saying I'm not calling for the removal of Chase, right?
Mhm.
But if you look at the stats, he's not been producing in
Okay.
terms of batting, right?
Mhm.
So if that trend continues,
Mhm.
let's say he has another 2 series where, because right now I think for his last 10 innings, he's averaging less than 12, right?
Mhm.
So if that trend continues,
Mhm.
he's our top off spinner in the side. How long do we continue to play him as captain, hoping that his form improves?
Who wants to take on that question?
Well, are you going to say, how about if he got some wickets? Are you factoring the fact that he may be a very useful off spinner? Or you
I'm putting
just,
less weight on that
Why?
than because if you look at his again wicket taking and his production as a bowler, he is a good steady bowler, but his primary role, I would argue, in the side is to produce runs.
Who
And
determines
his
that apart from the selectors?
the
Okay,
position that he bats,
that's a very clumsy,
the
that's a
position
very
that he
clumsy
bats.
question. Let me go again. That's a clumsy question. What I'm saying is sometimes we misjudge players. All right, you know a guy called Richardson who was he's on commentary in the same series. Do you know he's
Yes,
one of the most successful opening batsmen that New Zealand have produced?
yes, left-handed
Do
batsman.
you know
Yes,
that before that he was a left arm spinner?
yes,
And you know that
yes,
story.
yes.
The moral of that, I raised that, I mean, I can raise that examples, but I don't know if I need to. What a person is today does
Mhm,
not necessarily indicate what they will be 6 months from now. It is very obvious to me that Chase's bowling has improved way beyond that's actually improved where his batting has fallen off. So you
mhm,
ask yourself a simple question. Does he have value in a West Indies side? If the answer is no, then over time you will know what you need to do. But if that answer is no, and you're going to move him out to the side, and then you're going to work with the other spinners, who, in my estimation, are no better.
mhm.
So I would rather a Ross and Chase at number 7, or there or thereabouts, and use as the all-round spinner in the side, than to make a decision that he is of no use to us, and you end up playing a spin bowler who
Mhm.
can't bat because we see him as a specialist.
So am I then to understand that your position is if his form, his batting form, let's say his bowling form stays as it is right now, or even improves, right?
Mhm.
That if his batting form does not improve
Mhm.
for the next 2 series, two test series.
I don't think anybody can sit down and pick a team with
No,
two
no,
series
no,
ahead.
no, 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 no. But I'm
I
just saying, I'm just trying to get to the question. What,
yeah.
what is the determining factor for continuing to play him as captain if one side of the equation isn't performing, which is the batting, and he's bowling well? Do you continue to play
It is a
because the
judgment.
potential is
I
there?
already answered that question. It's a
Mhm,
judgment that you make, and you ask yourself that question whenever you need to ask yourself that question. You can ask yourself that question every match. Does he bring value to the team with the skills that he has? You just ask yourself that question. If
You
the
mhm,
answer
see,
is no, then you move on.
listen to
But
me.
what I'm saying to you is that if the answer is no, and you end up with a Moti or somebody else, you haven't really done anything. Because
mhm.
I don't think that
That
these other spin bowlers are any better, to be quite frank.
So he becomes your primary spinner.
He's been my
but you
primary
see,
spinner for 3 or 4 years now.
but the
Mhm,
whole issue here, gentlemen, is that where Chase Stephen is saying that he's playing as a batter captain. The captaincy is completely different than from his skill set. He wasn't selected as a captain. He's an off spinner and a batter. So what Philip has said earlier could be the solution for the time being. Just interchange him with Graves. Instead of Graves, because you don't know why Graves is coming, I think. Let
mhm.
Graves come and bat before him and push him down
I would say take less pressure off, and hopefully the form
Exactly.
returns. Now, if you're going to ask me what I'm going to do 2 or 3 series from now, I'm not going to attempt to answer that. But even Sammy, who is the sole selector, Sammy hasn't even fully decided what he's going to do for the next match. So I don't see how you're going to ask me what he will do 2 or 3 series from now. I look at things match by match, series by series. So I wouldn't attempt to answer that question. What I'm suggesting is I am suggesting something that hopefully will bring about a pleasing result. You assess it as you go forward, and you
Right.
make decisions as you go forward. But nobody can answer a question, well, unless somebody's got a crystal ball. Who's going to be playing for West Indies in 2 or 3 series? 2 or 3 series from now, none of the 11 guys who played today may be playing.
Right. Well, I guess I'll just say this quickly that in terms of whether a player continues to get the nod or not, I see it kind of like a credit and debit situation. So if you've got a player, remember Gordon Greenwich to the end of his career, right? Where there was a loud call to drop him, but he had done so much. His average was so high. He had scored so many centuries that he deserved, in the opinion of most people, that extra run, right? If you've got a guy, let's say Campbell just scored a century. Let's say for the next, I don't know, again, I use the 2 series. And I'm not saying I have a crystal ball for another 2 series. And he's averaging 15 or something. The fact that he scored a century not too long ago becomes less relevant because he's showing that he hasn't, to use the proverbial term, turned the corner. He's gone back to his old ways. So after, assessing that he scored a century and considering he scored a century, that doesn't give him a play in the team, as we would say, for 2-3 series down the road. And I'm not saying that we can predict it. My question was just around the thought process in terms of how Roston fits into the team. And as I said, I'm not suggesting at this point that he be dropped or anything like that. It was more, can we
I'm
take a
not
little look
suggesting
into
that
the
he should be or he should not be.
Yes.
I simply said that if I were in his position, I would drop myself down the order and take that pressure off myself and try to recapture some form of confidence. That's what I would do in his position. If the selectors decide to look in a different direction, that's not an issue. As I said, we've been looking in a different direction for quite some time. It hasn't made a difference. If the selectors and John Public prefer to continue doing something that has not brought about any change, that's fine. You already know my solution.
That is madness. Not fine.
You already know my solution over the long term. And is there anybody here who doesn't know my solution over the long term?
Mr. HPC?
You don't know my solution over the long term? We need to
do.
get an effective high performance program.
Right.
Because clearly, these guys are not improving. They're coming back with the same flaws all the time, which means that anything that's being done is not effective. And if something isn't effective, there comes a time when you need to change it. And so therefore I would expect that at some point in time, somebody will take that on board and realize that you don't have to be a Brian Lara to come up with a good idea. And that there will be some attempt made. I see them advertising for a batting coach. But that's giving me mixed signals because you're saying that you're
consultant. I believe that's the term that they're using. Consultant, I believe.
Okay, so this
batting consultant.
This would be to add to the current coach and not to replace him then.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
well, that may very well be a good move. That may very well be a good. We'll see how that works out. Gentlemen, closing thoughts?
Well, all I can say is that once again, they're flattered to deceive me. I am disappointed, but not crestfallen because I'm accustomed to my team. So like that, I would wish them let them go and have a good rest and come next week, hoping, because I'm going to predict now, sir, that next week you're going to see a different approach, a successful approach from the West Indies squad, and they're going to win that third test. Because
that's your prediction, your hope, or your expectation? Which is that?
No, that's my prediction.
Your prediction.
Because they have seen all that there is to see from New Zealand, and they are going to now produce. I don't even know where they're playing, but they're going to give you another masterfully displayed of cricket to make us all feel good again.
Final thoughts, Jonathan? Jerry, I don't know what to call you.
Yeah, the guys are fighting. They're really giving their all. My hope is that we win the toss, so we don't have to bat first, and that will give us a fighting chance.
You got to bat sometime though, Jerry.
Yeah, but the hope is that the wicket dries out, like the first test, and hopefully that's the only chance we really have.
Well, the only consistent thing there is hope. There's
Yeah,
sheer hope,
yeah,
and then hopefully we'll win the toss. Hopefully the wicket will dry out. So at least we're consistent there.
yeah.
Stephen,
Yeah, well, I really respect Brother Hartley, but I can't be that optimistic. I because our team is consistently inconsistent, right? So they haven't given me enough to really be that confident that they will perform. I hope, of course, I hope, because I'm a huge West Indies team supporter. But in terms of
supporter or
expectation,
fan?
well, you've converted me. I'm now a
You're not a
supporter.
supporter, okay.
But I do not know that they can make the technical adjustments that are required to play the type of bowling that they have been getting. Because one of the big differentiators between our bowling lineup and New Zealand's is the consistency. I'm sure if you were to put the pitch maps side by side for the two bowling units, you would see the package of consistency for the New Zealand bowling attack. And I don't know that we have enough time to really right the wrongs in terms of the John Campbell, the Ross and Chase. So I expect them to improve in terms of the batting performance, but I don't know that it's going to be enough to win. Winning in New Zealand is extremely difficult. So the best that I would hope for, based on history and based on the team's inconsistent performance, would be a fighting draw for the next match. But that's me.
Well, I'm going with Hartley. All that you said, and you were bang on, you were spot on. But all that you said also applied to when we toured Australia last time,
Correct.
and also applied to when we toured Pakistan last time. And in each occasion, we started poorly
Mhm.
and we ended well. I have no hope, neither do I have an expectation, but I have a prediction. I predict that they will end strongly.
What does that mean, Philip? And strongly. Win?
Well, time will tell.
Us died years ago. I know we're going to win. I know we're
Okay.
going to win.
All right, sir. All right, sir.
Thanks to you, Jonathan, Jerry. Nice seeing you
It's,
again. We don't
it's,
catch
it's
up.
been a, it's
Sorry?
been a pleasure being here.
Yes, you got to do this more often.
Yes,
Hartley,
definitely.
thanks. You are always around, and that's appreciated. And Stephen, the new kid in town, but seems to be taking over the airways
I don't know
to some
about
extent.
that. Thanks for the invitation and great to be here.
Okay, thanks, gentlemen. And here's
All right.
hoping that the guys can give us a good contest in the third test coming up next week.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks. We hope so.